live. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. Welcome back to Transaction Care. My name is Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily like the flower because we're learning and growing together. And this is Transaction Care, where we talk about real estate, business, mindset, and everything else in between. So today, well, my chat isn't working. I can't see the chat. So I'm going to bear with me, open this in another tab. I don't know if I can, but we'll see. And then I'll try to read the chat from there. But if you can see it, let me know. This is going to be interesting. There might be an echo. Okay. So I have the chat open in a different tab. So I think we should be okay. But if you have any questions about transaction coordination, drop them in the chat. I'm about to also go live on, let me fix this lighting, on TikTok. So if you aren't on TikTok, give me a follow there. But also thank you for following me here on YouTube. I love YouTube. I have met so many different people here on YouTube, and it's honestly a good time. And I've helped people with their business, with the direction they're going with their careers, with their business, with their life. And that's, to me, the most important part of all of this is giving back to those that can benefit from what I've learned over the last 2 decades in just working, and then also having a 9 to 5 for almost 15 years, then eventually quitting my job. I feel like I'm in a season of giving back and also relearning myself, as well as kind of rebuilding where I'm at. I just turned 40, so that's navigating that and who I am in this new decade compared to who I was in my 30s and in my 20s, what I think about life, what I think about business, what I think about family, friendships, relationships, all of those things. I've been just in a season of rebuilding and reassessing, getting to know myself on a deeper level, which has been amazing, honestly. And truly all of that is rooted in rebuilding my faith. So I'm grateful for this time in my life. I'm grateful I can come on here and talk to you all and share and answer questions. Also, if you haven't already, I have a Patreon. So go ahead and join that Patreon because it's a good time. So let me make a quick video for TikTok and we'll be good to go. I'm going live right now. Oh, hold on. See, you're just seeing it in real time. I'm going live right now answering your questions. Join us in the chat. Let's celebrate your wins. Let's talk about what's going on in your career and in your business and how I can help you. Let's go. I'm going live right now. And sometimes I make these videos and I feel like I'm giving joy. And then I watch it back and it's like, it's giving robot. But I saw a trick. I don't know if it was a trick, but a tip. Someone on TikTok said, if you're going to go live, make a post that, so make a post for your profile. So then as it's being fed out to the stream or whatever you call it, people will see the circle, like the live circle around your profile picture, and they're more likely to click on it. So I'm just adding some hashtags right now. And if you have questions about building your social media or what I've been doing in order to grow, I've definitely seen a lot of growth. I've definitely seen a lot of growth in the last 6 months of me being, I'm going live right now, not just committed, but also, not just being consistent, but also committing to what I said I was going to do. I've seen a lot of growth in a short amount of time. And I always wondered, when people said that, what they were doing. And I've reached out to social media managers. I've reached out to people that coach and do this for a living. And to be honest, they put too many walls up before you can actually get their help. So the way I'm running my business is, let's just not necessarily skip steps, but I don't want the barrier of entry to be so difficult in order to reach me or to get my help or to find answers. Because you're going to figure it out one way or another if you're diligent enough. But why would I just dangle the carrot in front of your face and make you chase it when you don't have to? So anyway, that's why I'm doing these live streams, these Q&As. I have a Patreon. If you haven't already joined my Patreon, I don't know what's wrong with my chat, but I'm going to comment it. But it's patreon.com/transactioncare, or you could just visit transactioncare.com, my website. So let's post this on the TikTok. Hold on. I'm going live right now answering your questions. Join us in the chat. Let's celebrate your wins. Let's talk about what's going on in your career and in your business and how I can help you. Let's go. I'm going live right now answering your questions. Join us in the chat. Let's celebrate your wins. Let's talk about what's going on in your career and in your business and how I can help you. Let's go. I'm going live right now answering your questions. Join us in the chat. Let's celebrate your wins. Let's talk about what's going on in your... So for those that are in here or rewatching the replay, thank you for your patience. I'm just posting to TikTok right now, letting people know I'm going live so I can get that going. Understand that the thoughts that I... Also, I'm at currently 986 followers on TikTok. That's really cool. So I'm about 14 away from 1,000, which is even cooler because that's something I've actually been actively working on. And I'll, preface this better. Followers are great. But they, 1,000 don't necessarily translate to dollars or to support or an actual following. Sometimes people like or follow my post based on one conversation I had, and I may not have ever talked about that ever again, and they just forgot they started following me. So I don't want people to confuse or think that just because you have 900 or 100 people that it instantly equates to financial gain or more business or customers. Not, at least not immediately. I always look at it as if I have 100 followers, 25 of them are generally going to be my loyal following. And the other 75 are here because they like when I talk about real estate. Some are here because they like when I talk about mindset. Others are here because they just want a friend or a colleague in the industry to feel less lonely, that they can watch or learn from, and some are here to learn, just quiet in the background. So when I, hit 1,000 followers on TikTok or here on YouTube, which I did actually, I'm almost at 1,200 here on YouTube. I'm grateful. I do celebrate that because that is a win, especially once I committed, it just happened within a quarter in the year. So I'm grateful for that. And hold on, I got a call. There we go. But I always keep in mind, by honoring some of these calls to action. Oh shoot, what's going on? So, one, if you... Oh my God, it's playing the podcast. Okay, close. I had a podcast playing earlier and it was, okay, so I got distracted, but basically when I hit these milestones, whether it's 100 or even one follower, right? As the audience continues to grow, I have to remember that 100% of them aren't fully following me, but the 25% that I, in my mind, bank as loyal followers, consistent followers, I'm speaking to them. I'm reaching out to them. The ones that are commenting or liking consistently or DMing me. Those are the supporters that I want to make sure that we're maintaining or building a working dynamic so that I can, provide you with whatever services you may need from my end. So all of that to say, I'm almost at 1,000 followers here on TikTok. I'm about halfway on Instagram, and here on YouTube, I'm almost at 1,200 subscribers. So that's pretty cool. And regarding my Patreon is where you get exclusive content, whether it's you get access to my podcast first, you get exclusive content for me that I do not post here on social media. You have access to my calendar to meet with me one-on-one, because if you go to schedule time with me now, it costs. At the lowest rate, it is, I believe, $30. Hold on, I have to look it up. Yeah, to book a discovery call with me publicly, it's $20 because I raised the prices over the months. And that's just to start out with. So if you want to learn how to become a transaction coordinator, if you're serious about this, I highly recommend you join my Patreon, because that's where you get a lot more focused content, whereas these live sessions are more, I'm just here and available to answer any questions, to talk, to chat, not necessarily to, focus on or give an elaborate training. I'm going to be uploading my training videos to Patreon as well. If you want to become a real estate transaction coordinator, my training videos will live on my Patreon, and that's definitely the best way to access that information versus coming onto the free platform like my YouTube, which I do have a lot of value and I have a lot of free content on here. But I wanted to create a space that was sacred to those that are, and exclusive to those that are more serious. Because I know some people think that transaction coordination is, I saw one comment today, they think it's like a filler job. They think it's a job that you can just apply for and start tomorrow or today, which not entirely. I'm going to say no. You can definitely do parts of it. But I always recommend, if you want to become a transaction coordinator, that you start from the ground up. Be someone's assistant in real estate. If you have no knowledge of real estate, get some knowledge about real estate. Learn what contracts look like, what they say, what they mean. Talk to people that have written contracts. Talk to transaction coordinators that do this for a living. Watch my vlogs, my day in the life vlogs. Come join me on these live streams, because I really break down the job of a transaction coordinator, and honestly, any real estate professionals, because I think there's a big misconception about getting your real estate license and thinking that, oh, you've just landed in the big bucks. Like, no, even the people that are top producing realtors, they struggle. They're fighting for their life. They're fighting to close deals. They're constantly questioning, are they doing the right thing? Are they, should they still do this as a job, as a career, as a business? Because when you become a real estate professional, a realtor specifically, you are self-employed. I don't think a lot of people know that, is you don't get your real estate license and then go apply for a job to be a realtor. No, now you are self-employed. You have to get the proper insurance, the proper backing, interview at different brokerages. And it's not like your typical job interview, because you get to interview them as well. You get to interview the brokers, the managers. You get to interview, if you ask the staff, does the company have a transaction coordinator? What additional support do new realtors get? Because some brokerages will train you at the bare minimum, but there are some brokerages that specialize in new agent training. So if you're just starting out in real estate and want to learn as much as possible and become a real estate professional, I definitely recommend that you invest time and energy into searching for brokerages that specialize in new agent training, because in that way you're learning from a very basic common level, versus when you join these top producing brokerages or these teams, they're not going to wait for you. They're not going to wait for you to mess up. They're not going to wait for you to get business. Like, they want people that are active. They want people that are proactive. And there's a big difference between having a job and running a business, having a career and running a business. Two separate things. And it's taken me 5+ years to fully understand what that concept means. After I quit my job in 2018, I went and unintentionally started a transaction coordinator business. I had a friend reach out to me to help him with his transactions. And because I was doing it at my office, it was an easy yes. Well, at first it wasn't easy, but once I said yes, it made me realize, like, oh, wow, I could actually do this as a business potentially. And then when I eventually quit my job, I was like, I was very fortunate to have a company provide me with the business and help me in that. But I also didn't really fully understand how to run a business or how to scale a business or how to outsource business or how to ask for help. So I feel like I've been on this mission for the last 5+ years. Next year will be 7 years in business for myself. But I feel like in the last 5+ years, because the first 2 years I was just like working, 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 working. I had the most business I ever had in my life. I had the most money I'd ever made in my life. And once that faded out and then the pandemic hit, I was just kind of left alone to figure things out. So that's why I say the last 5 years, because the last 5 years have been the most pivotal in terms of getting to know myself, from 35 to 40. That's a big chunk of growing up. I would say that is very pivotal because you're truly exiting that mindset and that mode of like, wow, I'm really not young as I I used to be, or I can't really get away with some of the certain things that I was enabling in my own life. So that's what the last 5 years of being in business is forcing me to uncover and realize. And I know some people choose choose to acknowledge these things, and some people choose to ignore these aspects of life. And for me, I can't unsee the growth. I can't unsee or undo all the work I've done, whether it was through coaching, therapy, coming on here, going live, working on my public speaking or my social anxieties, learning how to ask for help. All of that is a result of me taking action and having the courage. That's why I have this there. My coach got this for me because last year that was my word. My word of the year last year was courage. And this year my word of the year has been trust. So it's like I had to build my confidence to have the courage to trust myself. And these things don't happen overnight. My journey has been a journey that has taken years in personal development, whether it was working out again, fitness and how that's impacted, or even taking vitamins, not realizing that I was malnourished in certain areas, that water isn't just the only thing that we should be incorporating into our daily lives, especially as growing women, understanding my body more and how that impacts my business and my energy, eating now for energy and not just for pleasures and joy. I still indulge, but I can't eat like candy in the middle of the day like I used to. So I'm learning a lot. I'm learning to understand myself more. And that's a result of talking to you all, as well as um, being intentional with what I say, whether it's here or on the podcast, in my Patreon, wherever, I'm still learning and growing. That's for sure. That's not going to change. Be a supportive role in your journey or in your story. I would love to be that for you. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I go live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do my best to go live at bare minimum 20 minutes, depending on the engagement. But at the minimum, I try to go at least 1 hour and just be on here and available, whether you're working with me in the background as I'm talking, or if you have any questions about my business or transaction coordination, real estate, self-employment. I've been self-employed for almost 7 years now. And I think that has been one heck of a roller coaster for sure. And definitely no regrets. It's challenged me. It pushes me to not just look myself in the mirror, but also face the things that I'm seeing and feeling and enduring, and experiencing, good and bad. And having, adding more tools to my toolbox to navigate those moments. In some instances, whether I'm running out of money or my business is slow down, some of those moments and experiences I'm not going to learn from until I get through it. So I'm learning to be more present and actively present as well in moments, especially in moments of struggle or moments of doubt. How am I enduring this? How am I navigating this? Am I avoiding it? Because I'm definitely a serial avoider. That is my number one self-saboteur, is I avoid, avoid, avoid. I I think my attachment style is like fearful avoidant. Let me see. Let me look up attachment styles. What are you guys' attachment styles? Let's see. And I apply those to business as well, not just personal or whatnot. But I think learning about my attachment styles, or at least having the vocabulary to know how to express that, has been helpful in me combating that. So there's anxious, avoidant, disorganized, and secure. Oh, I would definitely say I'm avoidant. Yeah. I have an avoidant. Let me go to avoidant attachment style for sure, that I've been really working on. So that's all I have for today. I just wanted to come on here and see if people were active, if they had any questions for me. I'm going to get back to working. I go live every Tuesday. I want to add one more day, probably in September, another day where I go live, or maybe I go live every day. I'm trying to go live every day on TikTok until I get 1,000 followers. But this weekend has been a little bit crazier with my schedule, so I didn't have a chance to go live. But expect more content. Join my Patreon. That is where you get exclusive content. I'm actually about to go post in my Patreon right now. So if you're not joined. It's only $7 a month. I tried to make it as affordable, which is subjective, as affordable as possible for those that really are serious about the next steps in their journey with business, mindset, growth, personal development, real estate, and business. Those are kind of like the core elements in which we talk about, as well as, I think financial literacy and financial education is so important. But that's something I'm willing to talk about all day, every day, because I'm learning through it right now as we speak. But join my Patreon, hit that follow button. We're almost at 1,000 followers here on TikTok. I see you guys joining. Hello. Where are you guys? What city are you guys checking in from? Let me know in the comments. And double tap that screen so we can get more people in there. But ultimately, I just wanted to come on here, check in. What have we done this week? Yesterday, new podcast came out. And it was, if you're on my YouTube, I talked about just checking in with myself, and emotions. I talked a lot about emotions and how, for a majority of being self-employed, probably up until this year, this month, did I not realize until this month, I did not realize until this month that my emotions had been the driving force for a majority of my decisions, which to a certain extent is fine. But when you're seeking growth, expansion, or whatever that looks like to you, more income, more money, my emotions were the driving force, which was causing me to make irrational decisions, decisions that were not logical. And I was dwelling a lot. I was sitting in my own, wallowing a lot. I was taking things personally, and one of my favorite books is The Four Agreements. And I had to remind myself, like, yo, you're taking things too personally. You're spending too much time in your emotions. You're not using your toolbox. You are not putting in the work that you're capable of putting in to overcome this and move on. So I was spending months and years in certain thoughts, or of rejection, shame, embarrassment, or, and it coming off as lazy, so I had to get out of my own way and let go of the idea that my emotions, I had to stop letting my emotions run my business. Point blank, period. That's what it came down to. So this week's podcast was about. And I didn't realize that until recently. But that's because I've been pausing and being still, giving myself the time to listen to myself and to listen to God and to truly, understand what it is I'm supposed to be doing. Even with these live streams, I just hit live. I don't really schedule or have talking points for these live sessions. I just let it flow, which is why I always encourage people to follow me or join my Patreon, because that's where you're going to get more content that is focused. Whereas here, I'm just kind of available. There isn't really a set topic that we talk about. This isn't like a themed out live session. We're just here working together, vibing, and encouraging and uplifting each other along the way, because it can, especially when you're self-employed, it can get lonely and it can get monotonous in terms of the everyday cycle of just wake up, freshen up, eat, computer, hopefully you're getting some air walking around, but then eat lunch, come back to the computer, go back to your room or your living room, wherever, rinse and repeat. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I've been doing my best to get out of, and then also just initiating things outside of work that don't involve me being home, because I'm home a lot. I work at home, I sleep at home, you know what I mean? So I have to get out of the house intentionally. What, and if that alone is a job, is being social, especially at 40. It's a Tuesday, you know what I mean? And I'm supposed to go out to an event later. And basically, I mean, I'm pumped to go, but it's definitely out of my comfort zone to these days. When I was younger, I used to go out every day. Staying home was uncomfortable. But as I've gotten older, I love staying home, but I know it's like I'm always alone. I'm always at home alone, unless like a family member comes over, or I'm going to go hang out with friends to work out or something, and that's new. Working out consistently is brand new to me. In this phase of my life, you know what I mean? So incorporating new ways to step out of my comfort zone while I'm also rebuilding my business, what that looks like for me, and not and doing my best to make decisions. I heard Levy Ajayi in the podcast I was just listening to. She said, and it's so amazing when you find podcasts or people you've been following are in alignment with you as well. And they're talking about their journeys of recovery in terms of bouncing back from businesses that are failing. But she said something that I've been actively pursuing this entire year. And she basically was saying how she's learning how to make decisions from peace and not urgency. Or and that really resonated with me, because going back to having, my emotions kind of running my business, a lot of my decisions were based on what I was lacking. So I was just making decisions out of survival. I wasn't making decisions out of I wasn't making smart decisions. Point blank, period. And I haven't taken my vitamins today, so my brain is kind of like bouncing all over the place right now. I had to order some more and they just got here. So everything's still kind of sealed in the box. But basically what I'm getting at is I had to take a pause. And that's what this year has kind of felt like, is a pause. I kept taking courses thinking that was going to fix things. I kept working with coaches. I kept working, when it was just ultimately me doing the work. That was the answer. That is the answer, is doing the work. And now I'm in a place, okay, let's just not do any work just to fill the space, just to fill the blanks. Let's do intentional work, whether it's work on myself or work on the business that will impact and help other people. not just to make money, but how to enjoy the money, how to spend their money, how to appreciate and be grateful for their money. Gratitude was another lesson I had to learn this year, is being grateful for everything, especially the down times. Because I flipped the script and was like, oh, anytime I'm down, that's an opportunity for me to grow. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to wallow here and there, but not the entire time. Like, I feel my feelings, I go through it, but then I have to go back and open my toolbox or leave my imaginary toolbox open and dig in there and like, okay, what do I need right now? Do I need to talk to a friend? Do I need to pray? Do I need to journal? Do I need to read a book? Do I need to sit in silence, have a dance party? Whatever the case may be. Hi, Jace. Hey, any tips on brevity and transaction desk? Planning to enter as a TC, but no experience. Brevity. Hold on. Why does that sound familiar? I've never used brevity. And transaction desk. I've never used transaction desk. I use, let's see, what is brevity? Oh, a CRM platform. Hi, Jace, who told you those are the two platforms that you need to use? I'm curious. I use, transaction desk. So like, okay. I just call it zip forms. It's had so many names over the years. I don't call it what it's actually called, but transaction desk, I just get the logins from my realtors and use their libraries. I'm not a member of CAR. But once you have access to transaction desk, that will give you access to your forms library. And that's where you can pull all of the disclosures that are required for a disclosure packet. If you do not have experience as a TC, I highly recommend starting off as someone's assistant first, so you can get comfortable with how things work, and there's less pressure on you to get it right out the gate. Of course, being an assistant will require different responsibilities, but the role of a TC isn't something that you can just jump into without experience. You have to have a lot of experience. And I started as an office admin first before I just became a TC many years ago. And even when I became self-employed, I still felt like I was a brand new TC, and I had already had 15 years of experience. So, Jace, I think we've talked before, but definitely, learn as much about your city and county. What are the requirements? What are the requirements for your state? If you can, get a hold of a contract for your state, read it inside and out. Understand what type of real estate you want to work in. Is it residential, commercial, rental, investment properties? Ask around who needs a TC right now. Is there even a demand? Another way you could get your feet wet or understand is another way you can learn how to do real estate is to assist another TC. You're asking on a daily basis, what does a TC do? Every day is different. Every day is different because it depends on what type of TC you are. But because I don't control when contracts come across my desk, there's no set schedule like, oh, every Tuesday we get new listings. No, it's sporadic. So no 2 days are exactly the same for me. But if I do get a new contract, for me, I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Those are my availabilities in terms of my schedule. So anything that comes within those hours, I process, whether it's a new contract, a new listing agreement, disclosures that I have to send out, inspections that I have to order, following up with people that aren't responding, or following up with timelines and deadlines, making sure that we have the proper disclosures that are being signed in the proper order, especially now that all of the rules are changing regarding commissions and so many new disclosures are being introduced. So it's my responsibility. So let's just say I've gotten done with my work early right? All my emails, I'm caught up and whatnot. I may spend the rest of the day studying, studying the market, studying the new forms, updating my checklists, all of my checklists. I have a lot of checklists, updating my agenda checklist. Those are two separate things, you know? So the life of a TC is unpredictable to an extent. Because again, there's no set date when we get contracts unless we know when listings are taking offers, right? So for me, most of the time, if I get a new listing, most of the realtors here in San Francisco will look at offers at the end of the week. So I usually will wake up on Fridays and I might have a new contract in my inbox. I might, but it's not every single Friday, you know, and then on top of doing my work, I also have to manage my marketing. I have to manage my social media. You know, even going live, this is part of my work. I know someone may say, "Well, that seems easy. I want to go live and make money." Well, this is considered a lead magnet. This isn't necessarily something that makes me money every single time I go live. It's evergreen content that lives on my platform. So I'm also live on YouTube. So I'm creating content for future TCs that may want to hire me as a coach or as or realtors or brokers that may want to hire me as a transaction coordinator. So I'm technically right now doing marketing. You know what I mean? So if you're planning on doing this as your own business, there are a lot of elements, but not to say that it isn't possible, but there's just, I don't want people to think that this is just a filler job. It's not a filler job or a side hustle. It's really not. If you want a side hustle, be someone's assistant. I recently got a job offer from my employer. Just said to study first the tools. I'm from PH, by the way. Oh, PH, Phoenix, Arizona, Jace. Okay. the just part of it is what is the saying? A lot easier said than done, which is okay. You know, I definitely recommend people, if you're serious about this, to get your real estate license. If you're 100% committed to this life, you know, if you're not, then be someone's assistant at first and work your way up to TC. That is what I suggest, you know. And then Jace, if you don't mind me asking, what tools did they tell you to study? Like, did they just say, go find the tools? Because the whole purpose of this is to give you the keys. Like, I will direct you if you need guidance, you know what I mean? And I definitely recommend joining my Patreon because that's where I really sit with people that are serious about this, that need the help. I mean, you have to pay monthly, but $7 a month. And I really go into detail about this. And I just launched it this month, so it's brand new. But I'm working on my training program that's going to live in my Patreon. It's going to have all the tools, maybe not all, but a majority of the tools and the keys that you'll need to be a successful TC or to learn how to be self-employed. To me, that's what I feel like is needed at this point in time, because a lot of people want to be TCs, or a lot of people are just kind of being quote unquote thrown into the pool. And I don't want you guys to fail. I only want to see you all win. And a part of that winning is getting the proper training and knowing, you know, how to start and how to get organized. Because I would hate for you to study the wrong tools if you don't have to. Like, just ask me, you know, hit the follow button. Oh, Philippines. No, no. Brevity is no. This is the other thing, Jace. Every brokerage does things differently. Like, some brokerages will use Skyslope, some will use Dotloop, some will use nothing. Some will rely on their TCs to house everything. So it's going to be different. This isn't just like a plug and play job. I'm constantly learning new programs. Like I just started working with a realtor about 2 months ago, and his brokerage uses their own platform to manage everything. Yeah, I mean, right now, Jace, I would recommend, creating like a cover letter or one-page resume with all of your skills to be a VA. If you like, learn DocuSign, learn how to do tagging of documents like digitally, whether it's DocuSign or whatever programs are out there. Have a separate Gmail account for work stuff, for real estate stuff. Do not mix your personal with your VA or TC stuff. Separate all of that for sure. And if you want to market yourself as a TC, what hours are you available, and what value can you provide another TC? And start with there, because maybe you have skills with graphics, maybe you have skills in other areas that can benefit. Maybe you have skills with social media. Leverage the skills you have now as you're learning new ones. Like double down on what you already know, present that, see who bites. Send emails and DMs on LinkedIn. Create that separate Gmail account and just throw yourself out there. Don't wait if you have skills as a virtual assistant. Plenty of people need help virtually. You know what I mean? And what are your rates? Do you have prices? Because through that process, you may uncover something else that you're good at, or you may uncover a whole other job that is more suitable for you, or that you want to experiment with. You know what I mean? Unless you have the time to study and learn, then definitely take the time to study and learn. But if you're someone that is desperate or in a kind of backed into a corner financially, I would just start creating, update your LinkedIn account, update your Indeed account, anywhere where there are job openings in the Philippines, in America, wherever real estate is sold, if that's the lane you want to go in, and market yourself as a VA. Yeah, that's part of it. If you Jace say they say the roles that we are going to do is to send forms, check if docs are completed and signed. Yeah, that is a big part of the role. But also making sure that you know what a complete document looks like. Did they date the right pages? Did they so give it a try. Oops, sorry. But ultimately, I would just start marketing yourself now as a VA. If you have the skills, if you have start putting together your presentation. Jace, you got an offer to be a VA? Try it. You're going to have to go through the interview process. The interview process will uncover where you're lacking and then where you're strong. So if you don't get the opportunity from that specific offer, ask them directly, what do you think I need to improve on in order to get a job like this in the future? That's a part of the learning and growing as we go, is the actual trying, and this is for me too, because there are areas where I still feel insecure in my business, whether it's reaching out to get more coaching clients or to get more business in my TC business. But ultimately it's up to you to put forth the effort. You know what I mean? And the faster you get the results, the easier it will to understand what you have to work on next, versus trying to learn everything and then find out everything you learned was useless. And if you're going to be a VA to a TC, they have their own systems. So you may just learn on the spot. They just may need you available. Are you good at, because beyond paperwork, are you a good communicator? Are you on time? Are you organized? Can you speak English and Filipino or Ilocano, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Do you speak other languages? If there's so many different ways you could get your feet in the door. You just have to go pursue it and find out where you're lacking and where you're strong at. And the areas you're strong at, you revise, you then revise your resume or your profile, and every day pick a number. You're going to reach out to 5 new people every single day. Or if you have the capacity, I'm going to reach out to 50 people a day. It doesn't matter. 5, 1, even 1 person a day is a lot as you're getting more comfortable with marketing yourself, getting more comfortable with communication. So I know I kind of gave you a lot, but this is what I would tell people that I'm training one-on-one or in a group setting. You know what I mean? It's like, don't necessarily wait if you already possess skills that can be beneficial to someone. Provide value if you're ready. And then graduate to the new levels, whether it's becoming a transaction coordinator or becoming a realtor or whatever the case, getting a job in your city locally at a real estate office. I'm pretty sure people in the Philippines sell real estate as well. Are they hiring? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily like for TCs, virtually in other parts of the country. See in your own area where they're hiring. Start there. Are there trainings? Jace, I'm gonna there's someone I know that does VA trainings. His name is AJ. I follow AJ, but AJ, what is AJ's last name? Hold on. AJ is based out of the Philippines. I think he would be a great AJ De Leon is a great resource that I would also follow. You could go through the people I follow, search AJ, and reach out to AJ. Jace, depending on who you work for, they will tell you what they need from you. Because every whether it's a realtor, a transaction coordinator, an office, everyone's going to have different needs for your role. But if you have no real estate experience, do not market yourself as a transaction coordinator. Don't go around telling people that you are a TC. You have to do the work before you can even take on that title and fully get a full grasp of what that means and what that looks like. Because it's definitely not easy. Hi, Tiara. Let's see. How long is the average time from contract to close? Well, if we're representing the buyer, on average, 30 days. It depends on what's written in the contract. If we represent the sellers, it can be anywhere from 90 days to a year. I have some listings that I've worked on. I put in hours and it's just sitting on the market. And I haven't gotten paid for any of the work I've done. It's just sitting there. And so if you get a listing and you read the listing agreement, you have the terms, right? So it'll say this contract starts on this day, which technically is the day that it's signed. So the last date that the contract was signed is the ratification date. So let's just say we get a new listing agreement and it was signed today. What is today? August 20th. And basically from August 20th to December 20th, that's how much time the realtor has to sell this house. So in between that time, you have, let's see, August, September, October, November, December. So let's just say 4 months. So I have 4 months to sell this home. We get in contract on the 4th month. And now this buyer needs 90 days to buy the home. So now that's 7 months of working on a transaction in hopes that it closes. So I'm just kind of giving you like the long case scenario. Quickest scenario, it could be done within a month. maybe 7 days sometimes. And I'm live on TikTok and YouTube if you see me bouncing back and forth. But Jace, you are very welcome. Put together your profile, know your strengths, list out all of your strengths, make that like a presentation, like make it short and quick because people in real estate are busy. They don't like to read too many details or too many words, trust me. But that should go a long way. Reach out to AJ. AJ is a VA professional for real estate TCs in the Philippines. So reach out to AJ for sure. And please share this live, double tap the screen so we can get more people in here. We have 35 likes. Let's try to get it to 100. But Tiara, I'm sorry if I'm misspelling your name, mispronouncing your name. Yeah, that is kind of a general timeline. No two timelines are ever the same. So it truly just depends on what was agreed upon on either end, the listing side and the buying side. Not to mention, if the seller decides to live in the property even well after they've closed. So that transaction may continue another 30, 90 year, and then even after a transaction is closed fully, brokerages are technically still responsible. The time frame right now is 3 years. So they must keep a copy of that file for at least 3 years on file, just in case anything happens. If they have questions, we need to keep record. The brokerage is technically responsible to keep record of said file for a minimum of 3 years. So some people may think, 30 days in and out. It's a lot longer than that. I've worked in real estate for 2 decades, so I've seen almost every transaction or deal be successful, fail, fall out the day before we're supposed to close. It's exciting, it's thrilling. It's a different type of enjoyment. It's a little bit of torture as well, especially when transactions fall out of escrow the day before they're supposed to close and you're banking on that money. Or even beyond me, you have to think about the buyers that may have just lost their deposit. You have to think about the sellers that thought they were going to get rid of their house and retire, and now they can't. Whatever the story is behind that, but ultimately the buyers and the sellers are the bosses, and everyone else has to play their role to get everyone to the finish line. So whether you're a TC, a lender, escrow, title, an attorney, an assistant, an inspector, we all have a role to play, and every step is crucial. Every correct step is crucial to us advancing. Even sending disclosures in a timely manner is important. So there's a lot that goes into this job that I think people tend to be confused about. And I want to make everything as clear as possible. So thank you for asking that question. That was a great question. And Jace, thank you for reaching out too. Your questions about becoming a virtual assistant based out of the Philippines, very crucial, because there are a lot of people that are seeking work virtually. You know what I mean? But I think there are ways that we can go about this that are beneficial, not just to the person you're applying for work, but for yourself as well. So, but thank you guys for your questions. I appreciate you guys. Is the sound good? Is the quality good? If you have any more questions, drop them in the chat. I'm glad to answer them. I go live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on TikTok and here on YouTube. These two are my priorities right now. I don't go live anywhere else at the moment. I drop exclusive content in my Patreon. So go to transactioncare.com. There's a link on my page, or just go under the coaching tab and you'll find it. It's $7 a month, and that's where I drop exclusive content. It's where my community lives for people that want to schedule one-on-ones with me or get exclusive content that I do not post publicly about becoming a TC or working in real estate, and just kind of demystifying the whole process, and ultimately helping people to feel more secure in their decision to pursue a career like this and how to do it correctly, versus kind of being left alone to figure it out on their own. But if you're in here, please hit that subscribe button or the follow button. We're almost at 1,200 subscribers here on YouTube, and then almost at 1,000 here on TikTok. But I go live every Tuesday to talk to you guys. It has been so refreshing getting to communicate with you guys directly. I have to say it's changed how I'm running my business as well, versus before I was creating content, just creating based on what I thought you guys needed. But going live has taught me to create from your standpoint. Like answer the question, like create content answering the questions that you guys have. Because for me, I'm like, well, when I started, this is what I would have wanted to learn. And then I find out later, it's like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? So I'm still learning and growing too. And my hair is drying, so bear with me. But I'm going to stay on here for another couple more minutes. So if you guys have any more questions, otherwise, please subscribe, please follow, and join my Patreon. I'm taking YouTube and my Patreon and TikTok way more serious this year, and showing up is part of that process, but also providing you all with the content and the information that is needed, and really just kind of breaking down and uncovering wherever whatever areas where you feel you're lacking or just confused at, or maybe you just need to vent, or maybe you feel like you're getting played or walked all over and you need to get out of a situation, career wise. I also offer one-on-one coaching. So if that intrigues you, send me a DM. We'll get you on the calendar and Patreon. So if you guys don't have any more questions or comments, the replay will live on my YouTube for now. So if you missed the beginning half of this live here on TikTok, I've also been streaming on YouTube. So everything is under the name Transaction Care, as you see, Transaction Care. It's also my name here. It's my handle on all social media platforms. But if you guys don't have any other questions or comments, I appreciate you guys. I go live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. TC live stream, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that is 4 p.m. Central and 5 p.m. Eastern Time. In the month of September, I may add one more day, but for now, just consider Tuesdays the day we meet here on the live stream. So thank you guys again. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're still in here, like I said, I'm going to stay on here for another couple minutes. Don't be shy. Don't be nervous to send any comments, questions, anything. I'm still here for another couple more minutes. And I'm going to refresh my email just to make sure I didn't miss anything while we were live and take it from there. But I think we're good to go. But one thing for sure I'm learning is that it may not be misinformation, but I think it's just misleading. How do I want to say that? Well, if you're considering buying a course, I don't have a course right now. I have a Patreon. But if you are considering someone's course or program, that is fine. But if you're unsure or hesitant, or you think it's a scam or something like that, reach out to me directly and I will confirm and validate if it is or is not. Because I know at the end of the day, it comes down to people just want to be free from their 9-to-5s. They want to be free and flexible with their schedules. And that's exactly what I wanted, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when I was sitting at my 9-to-5, just miserable, not knowing how to get out of it, and it took time. But once I got to that point where I can exit and work for myself, I have not looked back. That's all. And I want to give back, everything I'm learning and have learned over these last 2 decades and over the, especially in this last decade. I want to give back what I'm learning, what I've learned to those that need it the most. whether it's here on live stream, in my TC community on Patreon, in my newsletter, or if we do one-on-one coaching, whatever the case may be. It's important that I give back and share just my journey and how I'm doing it to hopefully encourage and uplift you all in your journey or wherever you're at in life or your career, because we deserve it. And I think we are all worthy of that freedom, whatever it looks like to you. Because freedom can still exist in a 9-to-5. Maybe you just aren't in the right 9-to-5. You know what I mean? So think about these things, consider it. If you have any questions, hit that follow button. I go live every Tuesday. The replay will live on my YouTube. I've been live on YouTube and TikTok. I know there's a couple of you all, I could see a couple of you still are in here. If you want me to answer any questions, I'm glad to do so. If not, I'm going to check the chat one more time. But I think I'm good to go. I appreciate each and every one of you. My name is Lillian Hernandez. I also go by Lily, like the flower, because we are learning and growing together. And this is Transaction Care. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon. Also, podcast every Monday, live stream every Tuesday, new vlog every Wednesday. I'm going to go work on tomorrow's vlog right now because I just realized I don't have anything prepared. Exclusive. Bye, guys. All right. See you, YouTube. Appreciate you. We did 1 whole hour.